live. Welcome back, guys, to Real Talk with Andres and Heather, the podcast where we say the quiet part out loud about real estate, business, and the situations nobody warns you about, all while we're live streaming, so there are no edits.
That's right. No edits. And this is not coaching from feature highlight reels from social media. This is real stories, real mistakes, real money, real consequences. Consequences from agents, buyers, sellers, and business owners living it in real time. So if you want to hear from the people in the field, the professionals who come over on this show and tell you how it really works, then you're in the right place. I'm Andres, and this is Heather. Let's get into some real talk.
Let's get into some real talk. So I know Tuesday we talked about we were both traveling, and you were telling me about your crazy like all nighter that you basically pulled to try to get stuff ready. And in real estate, I was thinking right now, how many times do we do that? How many times? And the clients never know, really, because we don't actually go around and tell our clients a lot of times, which we should. We should like tell them so they know what we do. But like, how many all nighters do you think you've pulled? Or maybe not all nighters, maybe late nighters. Let's include those late nighters too.
Oh, I think every transaction, there's some extent, to some extent, at one point, I know that you have to, and especially if you have multiple things going on, you have to. I think it becomes part of the normal at some point. And then you have the client that want to reach out to you at 10 and 11 o'clock at night. Hey, it's still a good time? Right. Just trying to lay down right now. I'm drinking my night coffee before I go to sleep.
Right? You're like, no, I just laid down. And we've talked about that before too, with the boundaries and setting those boundaries in place, and then the expectations of when it's okay to communicate, when it's not okay to communicate. Because you answer that text message at 11:30, midnight, 1 a.m., one time, and that opens the door then for all of their text messages at all times of the night,
Yeah.
unless you put that boundary in place.
Yeah, but he also for me, for instance, it will depend on the clients what they have going on, right? Because if you have a client that is busy throughout the day, that you know what their lifestyle is, and they don't have time to throughout the day to take care of the things that they need in the transaction, then you'd certainly want to put some time aside to be able to connect with them, whether first thing in the morning or late at night, to be able to get some of the things that we need done, right? Because if that doesn't get done, then the transaction doesn't move forward. So depending on how it goes, yes, you need to have some set of boundaries in there, but you also have to be mindful of what's going on in everyone's life. And the same capacity that they have to be aware of what's going on in your life, right? So that certain days, certain times, they know, okay, it's not a good time today, but maybe tomorrow we can catch up.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it is a case by case basis because, like, for instance, what we were talking about on Tuesday in the what would you do if it was my client whose partner, spouse, whatever, the person they were buying the house with had just passed away, had just died, and they call you or text you at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to pick up that phone call because I feel like if they're reaching out, that's a little bit of a different circumstance than just a normal buyer, reaching out. And they really might need that interaction
Yeah.
with you. And because you're going through this with them, you're probably the closest person to them in that. Actually, it's funny. I can give you an example of what I'm saying. I was working with a buyer, and we had been house hunting. Actually, she was a renter, so we were looking for an apartment for rent. And it was a rainy day one day, and she did one of those like hydroplaning tailspins off the road. And she was on the side of the road, and she called me, and she's like telling me what happened. And she's like, I don't even know why I called you. You were just like the first person that came to mind right now. I need to call my husband. But it's because we're going through them, not going through them. We're going through the situation with them that's so emotional, and they're invested in this big purchase that you are top of mind to them at that point. You're like the go-to person at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when we talk about in cloud and when you want to gain someone's business, you have to be the top of mind when they're thinking about real estate or anything comes up about real estate. You're that person that they think about, right? And reach out to you and be able to connect and go from there. And like you said, throughout the process of the transaction, you are interacting with them probably on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And if something were to happen, you are most likely the one person that they're gonna call and give you a reaction, give you some feedback, give you just unload it on you and talk to you about it, open up, because of that relationship that you're building throughout the process and constant communication and being there for them. So it may be a natural reaction.
And the part of real estate nobody talks about either, on the agent side of that, when you're working a transaction like that and you're talking to this person, like you said, on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. And so through this process, at least 30 days from the time you go under contract to close, if you have a, well, depending on your loan type, but most likely longer because it took you a good bit to form that relationship, get that BBA or listing agreement signed, and then, find the house or sell the house. So let's just say a couple months, right? So for a couple months, you're talking to this person, texting this person on a daily basis. And then one day that's just like done as far as that level of communication. You still engage with them. Like we still talk about our past clients. Some of them have become good friends, but it's no longer a daily engagement. And that's a little bit of an adjustment period for a person because you're so used to talking to them. And then it's just like done. And you're like, oh, okay.
Well, I'm a little bit different because I get my clients inviting me for lunch, for dinner, for barbecues, for family gatherings,
Well, yeah, but it's not the
if,
same. No, I'm like we do the same. Like we have like
even
after
afterwards.
them, we go visit their house. I'm talking, yeah, afterwards. Yeah, we'll go. I like to go see the house after they have it decorated. That's one of our number one things. And then the ones that we have become close friends with, we invite places, we go with them. But I'm talking about that daily connection. You
Yeah.
don't have that with every single client. There's no way you have that with every single.
Oh no, not every not
Yeah,
on a daily connection, but I
and
do touch base once a month and say, "Hey, que lo que? What's up?"
yeah, but that's not the same. That's not what I mean. That's not the same. I mean that daily connection. You're used to talking to this person
Oh
every
no,
day, multiple times a day, and that's what just ends. I mean, you still talk to them. It's not like you broke up with somebody and you're never going to see them again, but it's
no.
not the same as every single day.
I get yelled at by my mom at least once a week because I don't call her every day. At
Well, why
least
don't
once a
you tell her
week,
every day?
she calls me and slap me over the phone like, "Why haven't you called me? Why do I gotta call you?" Like at least once a week. Promise you. I was one time in the living room and Ellie, she felt the slap coming through the phone. Like, damn, I felt that one. Shit, don't mess with her. So, so yeah, to your point, yeah, that daily basis communication doesn't happen. It certainly happens through other transactions, but afterwards, you die down a little bit. But I still bother my clients. I still like to say what's up and
Well, I'm not
jump in if there's
saying
some
you
food.
never talk to them again. We do, obviously, but I still feel like nobody warns you about that sudden change. The relationship shifts. It shifts from the everyday to the normal friendship status, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
okay, so you I talk to every day. I mean, you, Sean, I see you guys pretty much every day. I mean, we'll go like the weekends and stuff like that sometimes without talking, but for the most part, on some level, we like touch bases almost every day.
yeah,
And
pretty much for the past what year and a half, 2 years now.
yeah, so like I'm talking about that, like that daily, and then all of a sudden it's just like gone, and you still see them online. You still go to barbecues, birthday parties, out to lunch occasionally, but it's not the same as the constant every day.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. I just miss the clients. I miss after that. But it's not feasible to talk to all your clients every single day after, closing all day long. So, but
Yeah,
you, but you need to FaceTime your mom more.
I certainly do. Trust me, I do.
And you can FaceTime her while you're doing things like paperwork and stuff. Just FaceTime her and be like, "Hey, I just wanted to call and say, hey, but I'm doing this, but we can be on the phone." That's what me and my daughter do.
I do here and there. I give her a call, and we're every time I'm cooking something, she seems to know that I'm cooking, and she calls me. I call her on the weekends. That woman, every Friday morning, don't matter where she lives, the moment she wakes up, she has music. If anybody ever wondered where I get my dancing passion, my music passion, my mom. It's it. Like my dad loved music, but my mom, she dancing and music. That's it. Like her body hurts, but you put some music on and she's ready to go. Nothing happened.
Oh
So
my
that's me right there.
When my mom, every Saturday morning, when we would wake up to the music playing, we knew it was time to clean. Every Saturday morning, the music meant get up, eat some breakfast because you're going to be cleaning.
Let's go. That's good though. You have to do it with some good energy, some good music. Just goes by smoothly.
I don't know. My mom's just conditioned me now that like music means cleaning.
Oh no, no. For me, music is everything. Like I cook with music, I clean with music, I lawn my yard with music, dancing on the tractor everywhere. I cannot go. I'm telling you, I put some videos here and there from one show into the next. It could be two houses down. I have the music blasting. People looking at me like, "What's wrong with this guy? 6 in the morning. He's having a party like,
I think
without coffee."
the HOA would have some complaints about the 6 o'clock in the morning dance party.
That's why I don't live with an HOA because that would not fit my needs.
Well, yeah, I don't see any HOA that would be, or just neighbors in general. The
Yeah.
Facebook forums get you every time you get posted on the Facebook. But, anyways, we've gotten way carried away and sidetracked. So now it's time for one of our favorite parts of the show. Am I the asshole?
We'll find out.
Yes, we will. And you have a quick little note
No,
for us. Yep.
this is a dramatized story, not a real client situation, but it's every scenario here is based on situations that agents and clients deal with all the time. So let's go.
Let's get into it. So, funny story about the story. Because obviously we're not giving real stories. I have AI write me a story, right? And I try to like not read it because I want to kind of give my honest feedback as we're going to, but I skim it, just to make sure it is relevant, it's correct, it whatever. And so the story that it initially gave me, I was reading it and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. This feels this is me. This is my situation. And I was like, I can't talk about a story that I'm going through when I'm mid divorce. So how about we like table that one for now and you come up with a story that doesn't involve me. So this is my second attempt with AI to come up with an Am I the Asshole story.
Somehow I'm not surprised with that because you're dealing with so much AI and open claw that they're taking over your personality and they understand you quite well.
They really do. And for the record, I feel like I am not the asshole in my story, but of course I would say that. Okay, so let's get into it. Am I the asshole for refusing to lower my home's price after the buyer already signed the contract? I, 35 female, recently sold my house after relocating for a new job. The house was listed for $385,000 and I ended up accepting an offer for $380 from a couple who seemed really excited about the house. Everything went very smoothly at first. They put down earnest money, we signed the contract, and they scheduled the home inspection. Then the home inspection happened. The report came back with the usual stuff: a loose deck board, an aging water heater, and the inspector noted the roof was probably had 3 to 5 years left before replacement. The buyers came back asking for 15 grand off the purchase price. I'm butchering this. 15 grand off the purchase price. Say purchase price 15 times fast. I, I was honestly shocked. The roof wasn't leaking. The house was priced competitively and the water heater still worked fine. My realtor told me most sellers would maybe give 2 to 3K as a courtesy credit, but 15 was pretty aggressive. So I responded with, I'd fix the loose deck board and I'd give them 2,500 in closing credits. Everything else stayed the same. They said that wasn't good enough, insisting the roof would eventually need replacing. Yes, eventually. So will literally every roof, is what I responded with. When I refused to lower the price any further, they threatened to walk away during the due diligence period unless I was willing to work with them. Here's the thing though. Two other buyers had previously expressed interest, and my agent believed we could get another offer quickly if these buyers walked. So I told them politely that the 2,500 credit was my final offer. They terminated the contract the next day. But here's where things get weird. Apparently, they told our mutual friend group, a lot of friend groups in these stores, that I was being greedy and refused to negotiate over the major problems. Now a few people are saying I should have compromised so the sale wouldn't have fallen through. The house went back on the market, and 2 weeks later, for 3,000, 3,8200, no, 382,000. Like sometimes numbers are hard. 382,000. Another buyer who didn't ask for anything during the inspection closed. But now I'm wondering if I was too stubborn for refusing to negotiate more with the first buyers. Am I the asshole for not sticking to my price and letting the first buyers walk away?
What
No.
was the first price point?
The first price point, okay, so here we go. It was listed for 385. They went under contract for 380. They wanted 15 off the purchase price. And then the seller said that they would give 2,500 in closing costs. And then they terminated the deal. And then 2 weeks later, it went under contract. It didn't close in 2 weeks, but it went under contract and then closed for 382. I actually should start reading these and practice saying them so I don't butcher them so much when I'm reading them out loud. So it seems like if you're looking at this just from a standpoint of like selling the house and how the seller did fine. You know, they sold for what, 3 grand less than what they originally listed it.
Yeah. So
So
what are they complaining about?
I guess what they're saying, am I the asshole? I guess now they feel bad that they didn't like work with the other buyers more. And are they the asshole? In my opinion, right off the bat, no. This is real estate. This isn't like, am I going to be, nice and friendly? And no, you're not the asshole. Your job was to sell the house, and you sold the house, and you got what you wanted for it. So no, you're not the asshole. I don't think they're the asshole. That's negotiations. This just seems like a normal transaction to me. People have terminated a contract for less.
Yeah, something I got from a video from Ryan Serhant recently is whoever is willing to step away from the negotiation is who is in control of that negotiation. And in this case, the seller was willing to step away from that transaction because he had other buyers interested and not willing to drop down 15K for a roof that's still in good shape for the 5 years. And in fact, there are ways in there that the buyer can look into what exactly is wrong with the roof and be able to do some preventive maintenance that will drop down the policy under home insurance
Yeah.
and therefore saving money over the next 5 years or so. So there's a number of ways that they could have navigated that, but they only focus on dropping the price, the sale price on the property, rather than looking at the alternative option that could essentially saving that money over the course of those 5 years and still end up with a new roof when needed.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways to negotiate in real estate. And you can only negotiate so far with somebody who is not willing to negotiate, though. Um, and then it comes down to making sure all parties feel like they're getting what they want. And clearly, the guy had, other buyers lined up that wanted the house, and this other one closed with no drama, no trouble. They did the inspection. They didn't ask for anything. They were like, nope, cool, we want it. We're good at this price. So, a house is worth what you're willing to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
And
And that's the important thing in real estate. I think some people approach it with a mentality that they need to win in the real estate transaction, when the reality is everybody has to come out winning out of that transaction. You have to understand what's important for each party in there in order to navigate that transaction and put something in place that works for everybody. And at the end of the day, when that deal is closed, everybody stepped out of the table feeling like they made it through. They got a deal on the end. You know, because it could be timing, it could be the cash, it could be the closing costs, the incentives. There's a number of things that are negotiable, that are variable in there that you have to navigate that and identify what's important for each one and make it happen.
What's funny is that working with buyers and sellers, when especially that if they're a buy sell, when they're selling, they want the highest possible price for their house, but then when they're buying, they want the best deal they can get. And I always have to explain to them, I'm like, put yourself in the shoes you were in before, or the shoes you're going to be in when you're the buyer. You're wanting the most for your house. They're wanting a deal just like you're going to want when you go turn around and buy. um, so it's very interesting, the mindset shift from buyer to seller when it's the same person.
Seriously, they want the best of both worlds. I'm like, come on, you just saw what happened there.
I mean, I think that the roof thing could have been negotiated a little bit more. I think maybe they could have met somewhere in the middle. It seems like they were both kind of like, this is my final offer. This is my final offer, when it was like their first offer. And they didn't really even try to come to any type of, agreement. But I do think with the buyers in the story, I think, like you had said earlier, they were just looking at, I want this off the purchase price, and nothing is going to appease me other than, you know,
Now, this is a good story. This is a good point because now you're looking at the buyers and the seller, right? But reality is, if that's happening, I think the realtors handle the situation poorly as well. Because you have to be able to communicate what's valuable in this transaction and be able to identify what's important in there, right? And then have that open dialogue throughout the conversation to get to an agreement. If both agents didn't handle that properly, then you're gonna see that happen, right?
yeah. Let me look back at the story and see. What's wrong thing. I don't think it even really talked much about the agents even trying to really. It's told from the seller's perspective. The only really thing it says in here is that the my realtor told me sellers would maybe give, so this is like other sellers, 2 to 3K as a courtesy credit, but 15K was pretty aggressive. So let's go back and see what the inspection report came back with the usual stuff: a loose deck board, an aging water heater, and the inspector noted the roof probably had 3 to 5 years. So if that's the only thing they put on their report, actually, that's not even that bad. I mean, an aging water heater, it still works, but it's old, and it depends on what year is the house they're looking at. Because if they're looking at an older home, the expectation going in is that it's an older home. This is not a new construction. So you have to ask yourself: is this an updated home, or is this not an updated home? And if it's not an updated home and it's priced accordingly for the neighborhood, those are all things that the realtor needs to look at and address before they go in.
Yeah, certainly. And it's setting those expectations from the beginning. What can you ask about throughout that negotiation and request for repairs, right? Some people focus on the little things that are cosmetics and they want to get this done and that done. That necessarily mean that the seller has to fix it. So it's really understanding what's important in when they're asking for requests for repairs. Did they call a roofing inspection, right? Did they call a roofing company to do an inspection and really dive into that? Or did they just go based on the inspector overall, right?
Yeah.
There's two completely different, there's more to it than that. You know, a professional roofing company is going to dive into that and tell you more specifically about the health of that roofing. If you're strictly going by that inspection report, you're missing out on a lot of more important details that could tell you exactly how that roofing is doing.
I mean, there are so many ways that they could have negotiated this. They could have asked for, a home warranty. Now that wouldn't cover the roof. It'd probably cover the water heater, but it wouldn't cover the roof. But if it's an older home and they ask for the home warranty and they got the home warranty, I mean, home warranties can be anywhere from what, like $300 to $600.
Yeah.
So you're like, we want a home warranty. And if I was their agent and they said no to the 15, I'd be like, okay, how about 10? And see what they said to 10. And then can we meet somewhere in the middle? Could we maybe do like, you know, like 657, something like that. 6, 7, 6, 7. Can we do 6, 7,000? I don't know if your kids do that all the time now. I'm over here like,
I don't even know. I don't even know what the 617 is.
you're lucky. You're lucky because I'll bet, like, I'll just say like six, and then from somewhere out in like the abyss in my house, I'll hear 6, 7, 6, 7. I'm like, oh my god, really?
No, not here.
Yeah. So I do think that all realtors in this situation probably didn't negotiate that too well. However, that being said, the seller ended up doing better in the long run. Like
Yeah,
letting the
seriously.
buyers walk. So if the buyers wanted to walk, let them walk because they ended up doing better. But that's not always the case.
No, it certainly isn't. And that was my question. The seller felt guilty, felt bad about letting the first buyer go. I'm like, it's did they know them personally?
That's what it
Is
seemed
that
like.
what it was?
Yeah, I think they knew
Okay.
them. I think they had mutual friends. That I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen in real estate, because agents post online, just sold this house, sold this, a picture of the buyers, and then people see it and like the, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, everybody knows everybody. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, we were under contract with them and, they were dicks and wouldn't work with us. So
Then that's a whole nother story, you know?
yeah.
But as far as the transaction, I think the seller did well. At the end of the day, they ended up selling the property and staying within the price range that they were looking for to get. So,
Yeah, I think asking for a total roof replacement, because that's what they were asking for, but that amount of money, that's what it would have been, is
yeah,
is unreasonable considering the roof worked fine. It would be a different story if the roof was giving that, like if the roof had major issues and there was like something fundamentally wrong with the roof, then yes, that would be a different story. But the roof at the time of the purchase seems to be fine. It's just old. Well, so is the house.
yeah. Yeah, you said it right. Everything is aging accordingly, so it's not like it was falling apart, and it required immediate attention. So,
When you buy
oh,
an older home, you're buying an investment that's going to drain your money because older homes require a lot of maintenance.
yeah, they do. Like for instance, this is off topic, right? But not too far from my house, there's a property that came on the market around 840K. And I always driven by that property. And I said, man, if that property ever comes on the market, I'm going to go see it. And sure enough, I did. I went and saw it, got a video on it. I'm promoting that property for free for that agent. But man, I love the property. It's almost 6,000 square feet, just around 850,000. Has a movie theater,
Dang.
has a pool, a kitchen outside by the pool, a dressing room and bathroom outside by the pool. It's perfect for my liking, right? However, the property does need work. It's a property built in the 90s, which, if you recall, properties in the 90s, kind of every room has its own identity type of thing.
Um, okay, wait.
It-
So is this cosmetic identity or is this like
Cosmetic. It's just a cosmetic thing where every room seems different than the next room. It's like,
every room has its own
does,
independent theme?
yeah, doesn't flow with today's modern touch, right? And you're looking at it, damn, for 850,000. Do I want to jump into that? Or do I get something that's more modern, but I'm missing this, and that this property has? Like, I'm telling you, it has a movie theater. It has a
Okay, walk me through it because this just seems like the agent isn't doing a good job of prepping this house to sell. Because is this something that, like, okay, take the furniture out and paint the walls, take down the curtains, and it's fixed?
it's the house is ready to go. Like it's real nice. It's clean. It's just when you look at the modern flow of properties, high ceilings, the way the things are, it doesn't have a flow to it because of the way the floor plan is. But other than that, it's amazing. Like for me, I think it's perfect. You just I'll take it in for that price range.
So is it more of a closed floor plan than an open
Yeah,
floor plan? Oh, see,
yeah.
I don't like open floor plan. So closed floor plan for me is ideal. I why the hell is open floor plan even a who wants to live in a box?
But here's the thing. It does need. I feel like it's perfect the way it is, and but in some areas it needs a little upgrade or
But then
opening up a
it's
little
not
bit.
perfect the way it is. You're like,
Well, this it could be the way it is, but what I'm saying is a personal touch to open up a room to give it more light will make a huge impact on the
okay.
traffic on that property.
So it just needs somebody to tour it that can visualize. A lot of people
Yeah,
can't visualize, and that's an issue. But
because
if a person can come in and see what they can make it, then you know.
no, and I man, I'll send you the video of the house that I put together.
Yes, I want to see it now. So send me the video so
And
I
I'll send you the link because you can see it. For you, the kids, it made perfect sense. You would not hear the kids as far how far out they're gonna be away from you. And it's for me, I'm like, man, that's my type of house right there.
so you mean I wouldn't hear 6 7 6 7
No, you
anymore?
certainly wouldn't. Not in that house.
I feel like I still would. I feel like they would just like manifest and appear somewhere and be like 6 7.
They probably gonna put speakers without you knowing, so they can just let you know.
Right?
Six,
I'd be like, go
seven.
back to your themed room on the other side of the house.
So no, it's a great house. I'll send it over. You'll see what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
great opportunity for someone who has a vision because it's priced to sell given other properties in the market for that price range that size that's a 1.1 1.2 million dollar property, and it's priced to sell to be able to somebody give it their personal touch.
So then it's priced accordingly, knowing that it
Yeah,
has the limitations on the market that it has with the
yeah.
the
i
volume.
i have another house near my listing that's priced almost at that price point, maybe like 80 60 80,000 less. But man, that other property is so much better. The one I'm telling you.
Oh my god, you just gave me a great idea for what we should do. Um, and we could do it too. Is have you ever seen those Zillow Gone Wild? And it's like the crazy houses on Zillow that have like weird things in them.
No, but now I'm invested.
Okay, so we're gonna do that. Maybe not next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It depends if I pull an all nighter or not. And we can do like tour. We can bring it up. We can screen share, and we can talk about the crazy rooms. Just Google Zillow Gone Wild, and you'll see some crazy listings that are actually. Let me make sure that we can legally do that first before I promise our audience that we can show them Zillow Gone Wild. So let me make sure we can do that, and then if we can do that, we'll do Zillow Gone Wild because those are crazy. Like there was I remember seeing one on my Facebook feed that was like um, Barbie house, and everything in it was Pepto Bismol pink. When
Oh
I
my
say
goodness.
everything, I mean everything.
No, I will go crazy in there. I cannot. I would. I like pink. Trust me, but man, imagine just walking through everything being pink.
Hey, for the right person, that's going to be their dream house. So it just takes that one right buyer, right?
Yeah, that's probably my daughter. But man, I would go visit her and not live with her.
Right? I don't know. I feel like I would get a headache. Like I really feel like it would be just too much. too much pink. But all right, guys, you've heard the story today, plus a whole lot more. So let us know what you think. In this case, was the seller an asshole?
Well,
I'm saying no.
I don't think so. I think they just right step away and got at the end of the day got the deal that they wanted. So it worked out for everybody. So if this episode made you uncomfortable, fired up, or feel seen, good. That's the point. This show doesn't exist just to entertain. It exists to start a conversation, challenge bad advice, and help you make smarter move in real estate and business.
Oh, my turn. Sorry. I'm like just over here like
Heather,
place
you
with
see what we do this
that
life?
I just totally forgot. So if you guys want to be part of the conversation, not just listening in, go to our website at www.realtalkha.live to join our Real Talk community. You could sign up to be a spotlight guest, or you can jump on the show with us live and talk about what would you do, or am I the asshole, and weigh in.
Let's go. Do us a favor and like it and or send it to someone who needs to hear it.
Also, drop your opinion in the comments. Let us know what you think about today's story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so that you or nobody else ever misses an episode.
We'll see you next time with more Real Talk with Heather and Andres.
See you next time.
Ciao.